In a small town outside St. Louis, 24-year-old Brandon Lewis was known for two things: his gentle spirit and his lifelong devotion to Snoop Dogg. Friends sometimes teased him, but no one could deny the genuine joy Snoop's music brought to Brandon's often difficult life. Living alone in a tiny studio apartment, Brandon found solace in hip-hop, especially when the world felt too heavy. Brandon worked at a local grocery store, stocking shelves through long, quiet shifts. It wasn't glamorous, but it helped pay the bills. On breaks, he'd slip in his earbuds and let Snoop's lyrics fill his mind, turning monotony into moments of escape. This year, Brandon decided he wouldn't let loneliness define his birthday. His friends had moved away, and family was scattered, but he still wanted to celebrate. Why not have a party with the one person who's always been there? Snoop, he joked to himself. He spent weeks planning the perfect Snoop Dogg-themed party, even if he was the only guest. He ordered a cheap doggy-style banner online, printed out old concert photos, and spent hours crafting homemade decorations, blue balloons, fake gold chains, and cut-out cardboard microphones. On the big day, Brandon got up early, playing Snoop's greatest hits on repeat. He wore his favorite Crip blue hoodie and the same pair of Chuck Taylors he'd saved up for months to buy. The apartment looked festive, but a little lonely, with a single folding table topped by a homemade cake and plastic cups filled with grape soda. Brandon set up his phone to take pictures and videos, trying to capture the moment. He laughed at himself for feeling nervous, even though he was alone. "This is for you, Snoop," he said, snapping a selfie and posting it to Instagram with the hashtag #SnoopBirthday. As the afternoon wore on, Brandon danced around his apartment, rapped along to old tracks, and even tried making his own version of Snoop's iconic recipes: bacon-wrapped hot dogs and gin-free juice. Still, as the sun began to set, a familiar ache crept in. His phone buzzed with a few likes, a couple of supportive comments from online friends, but nothing from anyone close by. The silence in the room felt bigger as the evening approached. Brandon sat on his couch, staring at the decorations and wondering if the effort had been worth it. Trying to stay positive, he made a short video thanking Snoop for the music and posting it with, "Your music has been my friend when no one else was around. Thanks for keeping me company, OG." He didn't expect much. Maybe a few likes, maybe a kind comment. Mostly, it just felt good to say it out loud. By 9 p.m., Brandon started cleaning up, quietly humming, "Who am I? What's my name?" as he tossed empty plates in the trash. Despite everything, he was proud. He had made his own happiness, even if no one else noticed. Then, just as he was about to turn off the lights, he heard a knock at the door, a sound that would change everything. The knock was soft at first, almost hesitant. Brandon hesitated himself, unsure if he'd imagined it. He lived in a building where no one ever visited without texting first. Heart pounding, he set down his half-eaten cake and walked to the door. He opened it to find a delivery driver holding a large, mysterious box. "You Brandon Lewis?" the driver asked, glancing at a clipboard. Brandon nodded, confused. "Got a special delivery for you. Looks important." The driver handed him the box, smiled, and disappeared down the hall before Brandon could even say thank you. Brandon stared at the box, bewildered. There was no return address, just his name in bold letters and a blue ribbon tied around the top. He carried it to the kitchen table, hands shaking. His mind raced with questions. Was this some prank? Had a distant family member sent something after seeing his post? He grabbed a pair of scissors and carefully sliced through the tape. As he lifted the lid, a wave of disbelief washed over him. Inside was a collection of Snoop Dogg memorabilia, an autographed vinyl, a personalized birthday card, exclusive merchandise, and, on top, a video tablet with a note, "Play me." Brandon's eyes widened as he pressed play. Snoop Dogg's face filled the screen, smiling his signature, laid-back smile. "Yo, what's up, Brandon? I saw your party, homie. Happy birthday. You got heart, you got style, and you ain't never alone as long as you got that dog spirit. Enjoy the gifts, nephew." One love. Tears welled up in Brandon's eyes. The loneliness he'd felt all day melted away in a flood of emotion. He laughed, cried, and replayed the message, hardly able to believe it was real. He pulled each item from the box: a limited edition blue bandana, a Snoop cookbook, a signed poster, and a handwritten note that read, "Keep dancing, keep dreaming. You're part of the family now." Snoop. Brandon collapsed into a chair, hands trembling as he called his mom to tell her what happened. His voice cracked with emotion as he described the package and Snoop's video message. "He saw me. Mom. He really saw me." Word of the surprise spread quickly. Brandon posted a photo of the package and video to social media. Within minutes, his notifications blew up. Friends, strangers, and even local news outlets wanted to hear the story. Support poured in from all over. Fans of Snoop and people who knew the sting of loneliness sent Brandon messages of love and congratulations. "You deserve it. Your story made me smile. Snoop's the realest for this." As Brandon read the comments, he felt the loneliness of earlier dissolve into connection. His little apartment, decorated for one, had become the center of a global celebration. He sat at the table, surrounded by gifts, feeling like the luckiest fan in the world. He realized that sometimes the world has a way of sending love right when you need it most, even from the most unexpected places. The story of Brandon's birthday surprise quickly went viral. Local news stations picked it up, sharing clips of his Snoop-themed decorations, his emotional reaction, and Snoop's heartfelt message. By the end of the week, national networks and popular radio shows had called, wanting interviews. Brandon, shy by nature, suddenly found himself at the center of attention. He gave a few interviews, always humbly crediting Snoop's kindness and telling viewers, "You never know how much a little kindness can mean. Snoop didn't just make my day. He reminded me that nobody is really alone." Snoop himself reposted Brandon's story, writing, "Much love to Brandon for keeping the party alive. Remember, you never know who you inspire just by being yourself." The comment sections were flooded with messages from fans who shared similar experiences of loneliness and hope. Brandon used his newfound platform for good. He started a lonely birthday hashtag, encouraging others to share their solo celebrations and support each other online. He even set up a small GoFundMe to send care packages to other fans who might be struggling, writing, "Everyone deserves a little magic." The local community rallied around Brandon. The grocery store where he worked hung up a Snoop Dogg poster and hosted a Snoop-themed day, with customers and staff dressing up, playing music, and collecting donations for local charities. A neighborhood teen reached out to say that Brandon's story gave him courage to celebrate his own birthday, even though his parents were working double shifts. Others wrote that they'd made new friends through the hashtag, inspired to reach out instead of giving up. Brandon's own circle grew both online and in real life. Former classmates reconnected, inviting him to gatherings. His quiet confidence and genuine smile became familiar at community events. "You're the Snoop party guy," kids would shout as he walked by. Through it all, Brandon stayed grounded. He continued working at the grocery store, saving up for small dreams. A new pair of headphones, a trip to see Snoop in concert one day. But most of all, he cherished the connections, the sense of belonging, and the knowledge that his story had touched so many. Snoop checked in from time to time, sending short voice messages or commenting on Brandon's posts. The two even did a live video chat, sharing laughs and advice with fans from all over the world. Brandon no longer felt invisible. His story had not only changed his own life, but helped others see the light that comes from embracing who you are, even when you're celebrating alone. A year later, Brandon stood in front of a packed community center, helping organize a Snoop-themed charity event. The place buzzed with energy, music, laughter, and rows of blue and gold balloons. People of all ages had come to celebrate, many wearing Snoop shirts or bandanas. Brandon welcomed guests, handed out raffle tickets, and shared his story with new friends. The money raised from the event would go toward care packages for those spending special days alone, just as he once had. Local artists performed, kids danced, and stories of hope and connection echoed throughout the evening. Snoop Dogg made a surprise video appearance, greeting the crowd and shouting out Brandon for keeping it real and spreading the love. Afterward, Brandon looked around at the room full of smiling faces. He thought back to that lonely night, a year ago. The decorations, the empty seats, the unexpected knock on the door. He realized how much had changed, and how a single act of kindness could ripple out to touch so many. Back home, Brandon hung the signed Snoop poster above his bed, a daily reminder that he mattered. He kept the handwritten note close, reading it on days when doubt crept in. He still threw his Snoop-themed parties, but now friends joined in. Sometimes in person, sometimes by video chat, always bringing the same joy he'd felt that first night. No party was ever lonely again. Through every twist and turn, Brandon remembered Snoop's message. Keep dancing, keep dreaming. And he did, finding new reasons to celebrate, new friends to share life with, and new ways to lift others up. As he blew out the candles on his next birthday cake, Brandon made a wish, not just for himself, but for anyone feeling alone. That they might discover, as he had, that sometimes the world's biggest blessings come when you least expect them, and that every soul deserves a little magic, a little kindness, and a reason to believe.